All right. All right. Hey, everyone. How you guys doing today? Welcome to the show. Hope you guys are doing well. Hey, Jen, how you doing?
Doing great.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, guys, today we're going to be talking about some good news in the market. We're going to talk about how to deal with financial stress. And ultimately, we're going to coach you up and talk to you about how your advisors are getting paid and how to maximize what you're doing in your investments in your market, guys. So you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So Jen, check this out. Everyone's talking inflation right now. Everyone's talking recession. Everyone's talking, oh my gosh, prices are going up. I mean, hey, have you seen gas prices go up?
Unfortunately, yes.
Have you seen the prices of at the grocery store go up?
Heck yes.
All right. Well, in light of all that, there might be a silver lining. Here's some news. Olive Garden parent predicts food inflation will blow over.
Ooh.
So I found this article not too long ago here, and basically, this is what it goes on to say: Darden Restaurants, which is the parent company of Olive Garden, all right, and a few other brands. It says that they're focusing more on the latter, which means absorbing much of the cost in the present, with the expectation that prices will one day down the road normalize. And so the Raj Venman, who's I believe is the CEO here, he went on to say this, that we're choosing not to pass along all of our inflation costs to our guests. And he went on to say, we don't think that all of this cost is permanent. For example, chicken, dairy, wheat, beef, have all gone up. And obviously we've seen the prices in the grocery stores here, but they've all gone up. And obviously for Olive Garden, this is a big portion of what they serve.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a big portion of what they make their money off of here. And he says they're all these items are very high levels. Their prices are very high right now. The costs are very high right now, but we don't believe that that's going to stick around for very long. So we think it's prudent to be cautious and preserve flexibility rather than pass these inflationary costs onto our customer.
That's thoughtful.
So there's some good news there.
Yeah.
There's some good news here in terms of these guys think that the best thing for them is to continue prices where they are, which, by the way, I found this out the other day. Olive Garden had its biggest day ever in history on Mother's Day this past year.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for them.
Most amount of customers, most amount of food served. Maybe I can even say most amount of money made. But maybe it reflects these guys. Maybe these guys, it reflects in their numbers and in their, the amount of people showing up at the Olive Garden still that they're keeping their prices where they are.
Yeah.
Versus raising them like a lot of other people are. And maybe they're in a position here where they can absorb the costs short term to continue to win long term with having their customers show up week after week to continue to grow their bottom line.
Yes. What a great outlook.
Yeah, I think so too. And I hope they're right. I think they are right. I think they are going to be right that these prices aren't here to stay and they will come down eventually. They will come down soon. And maybe these guys are the leaders here in terms of being, really walking people through how to act and react in a time where inflation is a little higher than normal.
Yeah.
We've seen this in history. I think we're at a 30 or 40-year high, depending on what country you're in right now. I've heard both 30-year high and 40-year highs. So we are, when it comes to inflation, we are high. But listen, when you print money the way we've printed money for the last 2 years, I mean, come on. We knew this was going to happen. Are we really surprised? I mean, listen.
No.
You flood the market with trillions of dollars of money. This is the consequence of that. Right. And we could all see that coming here. But anyways, so I love these guys' outlook. Olive Garden, I didn't realize there was one in the city I live in. Maybe I have to go visit it now because I love what they're doing. I love a CEO that I love when a CEO can think differently and act differently in a time where most restaurants are doing the exact opposite.
Definitely.
And going through there.
Yeah, they're the ones you want to go support, right?
They're the ones you want to support. Yeah. Yeah. They're the ones you want to support here. And they're the ones that you want to continue to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
with what they're doing here. So what do you think here when it comes to the future of this stuff? What are we looking at here? What are your predictions and what we're looking at here?
What are my predictions?
Well, they can't be any worse than the predictions we're seeing in the news coverage.
I think when it comes to the cost of living and the inflation stuff, I think it is going to come down. Like when, I don't know, and how much,
we don't know.
We don't know that either. Do I think it can stay going, going till, right? No, it can't keep going that way. I'm glad we're starting to see some things coming down. Are we seeing it across the board? Not yet.
Yeah.
But I am hopeful. I am hopeful that the cost of living and the inflation does come down to reasonable numbers again, because right now it's very unreasonable, and it makes it very stressful for lots of people. Like, this is creating huge financial stress.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? It's creating a lot of stress, and I think for a lot of people, what's happening here is, we've got the financial stress, and we're at a pivot. We're at a point here where I think it's already started happening. We're probably gonna see it happen more. It's like, do I fill up my tank or do I go to a restaurant? And this is where inflation starts to take, or sorry, not inflation. This is where the term recession starts to happen, because simply what a recession is basically 2 quarters. So, over 6 months of spending being pulled back, consumer spending, you and I, not government spending, but consumers going out to eat, consumers buying, 2 consecutive quarters of that being pulled back. And so we might already be in one. If not, we might be headed to one. But essentially, that's what's happening, is just saying, okay, do I want to spend $100 going out to eat with the family this weekend, or am I going to put that in the gas tank because gas has gone up 70%?
Yeah, and
I got to keep, that's what's happening. So do I think long term this is going to continue going this way? I don't think so. I think we're in the perfect storm of 2 years of trillions of dollars being printed. The hottest real estate market I think we've ever had in history, right? Coming kind of cooling off a bit here. And what's happened is, I'm sure you can talk about the war over, with Russia and Ukraine and all that being part of the problem as well. And so it's almost like that perfect mix that's going on here that's causing this to happen. So I think we're cool off. I think we're going to get through this and on the other side here. But how do we deal with financial stress? Because during this time, there's no doubt there's some stress going on for people, as it's like, food costs going up, like I said here, and other costs going up here. Obviously, naturally there's going to be some stress around this for people and in their lives and what's going on here.
Yeah.
And so how do we deal with financial stress? And, financial stress being defined as anxious, anxiety, frustration, depression sometimes. For others, it's trouble sleeping. We've seen for a few, it's weight gain or weight loss, physical or mental health issues.
Yeah.
Poor coping habits. This is another indication that maybe you're in financial stress here. Coping habits being angry, short fuse, impulse spending, pulling away from relationships, sometimes even self-isolating. These are some symptoms that you might be in financial stress.
Yes.
Or financially overwhelmed here.
For sure.
And none of these help your money, or none of these will help in your finances or your wealth sense of being. But what can help?
Yeah. I think this is a really good thing to dive into a little bit, Mike, because it's so prevalent in our society, right? Like the financial stress, it's kind of like that low hum that just seems to exist throughout, so many households. And a lot of it is, I think, based on uncertainty in our world. And we've seen a lot of crazy the past 2 years, right?
Absolutely.
But not all of those things cause it. They probably just highlighted the fact that there was a problem to begin with.
Yeah.
Right?
Interesting. There was
Yeah.
a problem before all this happened, but now
Yeah.
it's being magnified, maybe.
Yes, absolutely. It just, like maybe it was hidden in a dark corner before, and now like there's this big spotlight on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's really important to take inventory, right? Like look at where you're at and really look at it with an analytical view, right? Like try to take the emotions out of the money and just look at the facts,
Yeah.
right?
I like that. Don't
Yeah.
bring the drama, bring the data.
Yes, exactly. I love that one.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to deal with something when you're looking at the facts, right? Like think of a math problem, right? From school. The facts were the facts. It didn't matter if Johnny was feeling good. He just needed to know how many square feet of flooring he needed, right? Like just bring it down to just the basics, just the facts, right? And that's where we've harped on it, over and over again in a good way, how crucial it is to have a plan, to know what's going on, and to really be able to focus on what's going on what the numbers actually are.
Yeah.
What's income, what's expenses, the good, the bad, the ugly. Let's look at it all.
Yeah, I find a lot of people, what they do is and a lot of people even admit this, and maybe you're one of them, we put our head in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
When things don't feel right, in our heart, we just put our head in the sand. And so we don't really know the data, but we think we have these kind of sort of think answers that are based on how we feel, not always on reality.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
One of my coaches in my life, she said, Mike, we are, she said, we're meaning making machines.
Yes.
And what she meant was we attach meaning to a lot of things in our lives. And the funny thing is, the meaning you attach gives that thing reference. And that meaning could absolutely give reference to it. And that meaning could absolutely not give reference to it based on how you want to attach it.
Yeah.
A lot of times we'll look at this, we'll look at what's going on here and we'll feel stressed out. We'll feel overwhelmed. We won't look at the real numbers, but we'll tell a story based on how we feel.
Yeah.
And that becomes the meaning, and that becomes the thing that drives us. And we start to say things that I call, we start to give ourselves limiting beliefs around that situation.
Yes.
Where we find a lot of times when people will pull their head out of the sand, as hard it is, look at the numbers, as hard as it can be, look at the numbers and really get an idea of where things are at. They feel better. And they kind of start to feel like they're in control again. Because they see the numbers and maybe they're not as good as they want them to be, but they're not usually as bad as they think they are.
Yeah.
Which causes them to, I guess essentially pull that monster out of the bed.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
And from there, it's so much easier to move forward and know how to take action on things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And once you know where you are, it's time to put that plan together.
Yeah.
Which, kind of brings us to number 2 here. I think, number 1 is to take inventory, really take a look at where you're at right now. Cash flow plan's a great tool to help you with that. What do I have coming in? What are my expenses? And if we don't have enough, then at least we know we have to work a plan or have some conversations with some people about who's not going to get paid. Right. Or if we have enough coming in, then we've got a plan for who we're going to pay and how we're going to pay and when we're going to pay. Right. As well here. But number 2 here, I would say this is to really dive in here and commit and make a decision to commit and make a decision to be intentional.
Yes.
Because here's the truth, Jen. If you really want to be transformed, you have to live an intentional life.
Yes.
Like if you really want to live debt-free, you've got to live it. It's got to be intentional. And you got to do some things intentionally. And you probably got to do some things differently too. Right. And I want you guys to lean in here because this is super simple and I don't want you guys to miss this. Most people don't lead their life. They accept their lives. I'll say that again. Most people don't lead their lives. They accept their lives. And when you accept your life, a lot of times what's happening is you're living on things that aren't worthy of your time, that aren't worthy of your energy, and that aren't worthy of your efforts. Because the truth is, everything worthwhile is always going to be uphill. And the reason I say that is because, Jen, when's the last time you accidentally climbed a mountain?
Yeah, never.
Never. right? Right. And everything worthwhile going after is uphill
Yeah, it's true.
in your life here. Yeah, we got a lot of mountains out here. I've never accidentally climbed up one.
No.
I've had to prepare mentally to go and do it here. But it's the same idea in our lives here. If we're not going uphill, we're just going with the flow. And we're not living intentional. We're living, just that life that's we've accepted life as it is.
Yeah.
All right. And so yeah, everything worthwhile is uphill. Because the truth is here, you don't go uphill by accident. But number 3 is there's never been a book, I haven't found it yet, a book being written on accidental success.
Yeah.
Have you read a book yet or gone through a course that accidentally lost 50 pounds and got into the best health of your life?
Yeah, no. It's not an accident.
Yeah. And you don't accidentally get out of debt. Right? It's on purpose and it's making it happen here. And so part of this process, guys, and making a decision to commit and making a decision to be intentional here is you have to be intentional with who you are and what you want.
Yes.
Or else you will always, Jen, as you say, if you don't have an end date to when you'll be debt free, you just live in life.
Yeah.
The problem with living life is it just becomes normal, it becomes accepted, it becomes unintentional.
Yeah. And then you look back in a couple of years and you're like, oh, there was that timeline. But
yeah. Oh shoot, it's been 20 years and I'm still in debt. How did that happen?
Dang, that was supposed to be taken care of year 4.
Yeah. Year 4 of my unintentional plan, I wanted to become debt free and I did nothing about it.
Yeah.
And so, what does it look like here when it comes to committing here, Jen? What are some ways that we can dive in? We can be intentional around our finances, be intentional around the goals we want to hit, and get moving in the right direction.
Yeah. I think the first thing you really have to do, Mike, is just decide that you're going to make it happen. No one else is going to make it happen for you. It's not going to surprisingly disappear. You have to choose, be really intentional with it and commit to that process, commit to taking the actions, to writing the cash flow plan, to following the cash flow plan, to,
when it gets hard.
Right? Exactly. And it's going to get hard because the children are going to want something. You're going to want something. You're going to be invited to something.
You mean the child inside of me? Yeah.
That one too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy when it's easy. It's hard when it's hard. And most people give up when it's hard. That's why, if getting out of debt was easy, that everyone would be debt free.
Yes.
If becoming wealthy was easy, everyone would be wealthy.
Yeah.
The stats show the exact opposite.
It's not easy. It's not easy to say no to going out. It's not easy to say no to attending your sister's overseas wedding, right?
Oh, I saw the hand go up there.
Yeah, that was me. I had to say no. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It was really hard. It was really hard to say no, but we were committed and we were so legit broke that year. We couldn't make it happen. But are we grateful for the decisions we made today? Yes. But was it easy? Heck no. No. Yeah. It takes having a plan, Mike. Like, wealth doesn't happen by accident either. Getting out of debt, building wealth, investing on a regular basis. These things are all actions that take intentionality and a committed decision.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. So yeah, getting on that cash flow plan. Hey, how about this one? Having a plan to pay off some debt.
Yes.
Not just the minimum payments and not just paying off debt to rack it back up.
Yeah. No, like breaking up.
Breaking up with your cards.
Yep.
I talked to a couple yesterday who right now they're paying almost $9,000 a year in interest.
Ouch.
They've been in debt for 20 years. So
ouch.
You do the math of how much it's cost.
They would rather you didn't.
I'm sure they would rather me keep it in the dark and not say anything. But the truth is there's opportunity cost here.
Yes.
And whatever decision you decide to make, there's a cost either way. There's a cost to win. There's a cost to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think what's really great too, though, Mike, is that there's a lot of freedom in choosing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's so much freedom in choosing.
Yeah.
If you choose to be committed to getting out of debt and staying on a plan, it actually makes it easier to say yes to the things you're going to say yes to and no to the things that don't align with your plan. Like it gives you permission. It's your mommy out of school permission slip, right?
Ooh. Yeah. I used to sign those myself.
I did too when I turned 18.
That's right. You would have still had school at 18.
I did. Yeah.
I didn't. We were done by the time we were 17. I was out.
Yeah.
So I was signing those before I was 18. Anyways,
that's hilarious.
But it's absolutely right. It's absolutely right. When you make a decision, now you have a choice. And the problem is you can't blame anyone for your choices.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but it's not going to benefit you to blame other people for your choices and decisions you're making.
Sure thing.
The sad part is when it becomes your choice, it becomes a responsibility.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a word most people don't like these days. Responsibility. But the great news is if you're ready to change this and get moving forward here, it becoming a responsibility is the greatest superpower you will have, because you know that's 100% up to you to make it happen.
Yes.
You're not waiting on the government to forgive your loans. You're not waiting on mommy or daddy to bail you out again.
Yeah.
Right. It's up to you to get working a path here.
Definitely. Definitely.
And get moving on, which I love that there. Let's dive into number 3 here, because this is one that most people are going to expect. When I hear people talk about a plan to get out of debt, they always give me the mathematics. They always tell me, okay, if you do X, Y, and Z, you can be debt free. I think one of the best things to getting debt free is what we're about to talk about.
Yes.
You guys ready for this? If you got a pen and paper, make sure you're writing this down. So what was number 1? What was the first thing we mentioned here? To getting out of the stress and the anxiety and all that. Take inventory, right?
Take inventory, yeah.
Take inventory of what let's take a look at how bad it really is. If it really is as bad as we think it is, most times it's not, right? Start to change those stories we tell ourselves, shine a light on our finances with what's working, what's not working, and then deal with the monster under the bed. Trust me, he's not as big as you think he is. He's only as big as you let him be.
I like that.
All right. Number 2 is to make a decision, to commit, to be intentional, and to commit to making some progress here.
Yeah.
Commit to a plan. Don't just hope and pray one day you'll be debt free, because that ain't going to happen. The hope and the prayer doesn't work. The plan does. Right. And start to make a plan for that. Make a plan for what you have come in every month, what goes out every month. Make a plan for your debt and how you want to pay it off. Right. And then number 3 is gratitude. Whoa, what? How does gratitude get me out of debt? Here's what I have found to be true. Go back to thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, we were cavemen. Right? We were part of that caveman culture where our brain was wired to protect us. How it protect us was this. We would walk out of the cave and we look at the world and we would see all the things around us that could kill us. Oh no, there's a flying dinosaur. I don't know if there was or not. I'm just making it up. There's a flying dinosaur trying to chop off my head right now. There's a snake on the ground that's about to bite my foot. And we were hardwired to look at all the things that could kill us, which kept us alive. And that was a good thing. Fast forward now, thousands, if not millions of years later, we live in a time and day and age where we walk out of our front door, there's not much that can kill us. The dinosaur ain't gonna eat your head. Okay. The snake ain't on the ground biting your feet, at least if you live in North America, in most places. But what's happened is our brain hasn't evolved. And so we're still hardwired to look at the negative as a coping mechanism to protect ourselves.
Yes.
And so 80% of our thoughts, guess what, are negative thoughts. If we haven't reconditioned our brains, 80% of our thoughts are negative thoughts. Every thought's attached to an energy. Well, if 80% of your thoughts are negative, if every thought you have is attached to an energy, do you wonder why you feel down, overwhelmed, depressed, anxiety-ridden, stressed out, frustrated? Because you're living most of your life looking at the negative.
Yeah.
That's how we've been conditioned. So what does gratitude do for us? What does gratitude look like? Gratitude is being thankful for the opportunities you have in front of you. Even if you're not where you want to be, it's the opportunity that you have. Hey, I'm thankful I woke up to warm water today, because half the world doesn't have warm water today. I'm thankful I was able to go and get a coffee. Yeah, it might have been crappy coffee, but hey, I was able to go get a coffee. And you start to take stock of all these little blessings you have in your life. And over time, what happens is you start to recondition your brain to wake up and look for things to be thankful for.
Yeah.
And when you're thankful for things, that creates a different energy. Every thought's attached to an energy. So when you have positive thoughts that are attached to energy, all of a sudden, you got a pep in your step. And you don't know why. It's because you've been spending weeks and if not months conditioning your brain to be grateful.
Yeah.
And then when life does happen and sets you back here, you approach it differently than you would have in your previously.
Yeah.
Did I get that right? Did I sum that up properly?
Definitely. Absolutely. Got to be grateful for the things that are around you, the blessings that you have, right? We live in such a prosperous world that to be able to focus on the positive and change that energy, it can change our day, right? Just like how we view our words, right? Like, I don't have to go to work every day. I get to work.
Woo.
Right? Like,
that's right.
Love what you do. Even if it's not what you want to be doing, love where you're at, because maybe what you want to do is just over the hill.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. And here's what I know to be true. If you live in gratitude and I don't want to just say positive, but if you live in great gratitude, because living in gratitude doesn't always mean positive. Life can happen.
Oh yeah, there's struggles.
Right? There's a difference between gratitude and positivity. But if you live in deep gratitude, it's going to set you ahead of 90% of other people who don't live there. Mm-hmm. And when you want to talk about getting a raise, when you want to talk about advancing your career, the person who lives in gratitude and it can, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like they embody gratitude.
Yeah. Who can ooze it? I have found those who live in gratitude are more fun to be around than those who don't.
Yeah.
And when I'm looking for things to do or people to hang out with, it's the people who are in gratitude that I think of first. And usually they're the ones I hang out with. I don't tend to hang out with people who don't live in gratitude much, but it's going to create new opportunity in your life.
Yes.
And believe it or not, that's the secret here to overcoming stress, becoming debt free, and living a life of awesomeness, if that's even a word. Awesomeness, living your dreams here and everywhere you want to go. Everyone's telling you, do the avalanche, do the snowball. I don't care which one you do. They both work when you live in gratitude. They both work when your mindset's dialed in.
Yes.
They both don't work when none of those two things are dialed in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the idea, guys, is really gratitude is going to set the attitude for your future and where you want to go here. Make the decision to commit, make a decision to be intentional. Okay. And then take inventory of where you're currently at. It's okay. Hey, if it's bad, it's bad. That's fine. Where you start is not where you're going to end.
Yes.
But you got to start. And if it's bad, that's cool. We'll help you through it. We'll get you working. We'll get you living that best life that you can live here. We'll show you how to do that and get you moving forward. But you got to be able to start.
Yeah.
And know this, it's got to be intentional, not accidental.
Yeah.
All right, guys. And so let's do this, guys. Jen, we got a coaching question here. Let's coach someone up that came through here. And so they asked this question. Do advisors make money even if your account drops by 100%? Now, I don't know if this guy's account dropped by 100% or if he's just asking because he's worried that his account's going to drop by 100%.
Fair enough.
But he wants to know, do advisors make money? Most do. Most advisors will make a percentage off the account you have with them. So if you got $0 in the account, they make, what's 1% of zero? Zero. But if you got if you got 10,000, 100,000, $1,000,000, they're making the same percentage point. Actually, as you go up, most of them will scale down and make a little bit less on percentage, but they're based off percentage. And what I love about being based off percentage is when you're making a percentage of a retirement account, you're incentivized to grow that account. You want to make more? Let's grow the account. Right. And so a good advisor will help you grow your account in a way where you're making money and they continue to make some money.
Yeah.
And so I don't mind paying advisors money. I want my advisor to make, I don't want a broke advisor working for me.
No.
Do you, Jen? Do you want a broke advisor managing your hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars?
No.
Yeah. You want these guys to make money. You want these guys to do well, and you want to find the right guys.
Yes.
Right. And so that's number one. Number one is make sure you're with the right guy. Okay. The guy who has the heart of a teacher, maybe someone who's been around for a while, who's been through a recession or two, maybe, who understands when the market drops 40%, what to do. And then, someone who themselves, I would say, are investing as well. They didn't just get into it because their buddy told them to, but they got into it because this is what they're passionate about, and so they're doing it themselves. Right? I would do that. Now, when it comes to losing 100%, I don't know what stock or fund you're in, but when I look at the market, so S&P 500, a few other indexes. Last I checked, which was about a week and a half ago, we were only down about 25%. In the last 6 months. Over the last 2 years, we're still up. If you jumped in 2 years ago, your account should still be up, not down. Even though we've gone down a little bit here, you shouldn't be negative in your account here. But if you're negative 100%, that tells me you're probably in a stock, single stocks, which is cool. If you're going to do that, I would say, and a lot of single stocks have dropped. I watched Zoom completely. They were at their all-time high. They were worth $450 per stock.
Yeah.
I think today they're down to 75. So that's a big drop.
Yep.
But to me, Zoom's a great company. When I look at their balance sheet, they got a lot of cash on hand. They've been profitable every single quarter. And so Zoom's one of those companies, I call them a casualty of the market. The market's dropped. Tech stocks have dropped huge. Zoom's just a casualty. I think long-term Zoom's going to be a great company to be in. But if you're in really good companies, even though they've had big drops, stay in them. Continue to put more money into them, because right now is a great time to buy and take this up. And over 5, 10, 15 years, I think you're going to be glad that you did.
Yeah.
Any last words of wisdom, Jen?
Oh, for real, guys, if you can dig in and get, take stock of where you're at, take control of it and really commit to it and express gratitude, already you're going to be winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. And listen, if you guys need help with this stuff, hey, this is what we're here to do.
Yeah.
We're to help you guys win with money, beat debt, really live the best. When we talk about living the best life, we mean it. A life of gratitude, a life of being able to do what you want to do, a life of generosity. Most people will not be able to do that.
Yeah.
And my goal is to help you guys do that. So if you want some help with that, hop on a call with us, moneycoachmike.com/call. We'll hop on a 15-minute call with you to see where you're stuck, what's not working. Maybe you're debt free and it's like, what do I do next? Let's talk about what to do next.
Yes.
Maybe you're in debt. Maybe you've been in debt for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and you've tried it your way and it hasn't worked. Guess what? It's time to do it our way. Right now, our average client's paying off about $15,000 in 3 to 6 months. Yes, I just said that. $15,000 in 3 to 6 months. And if you want to learn how to do that as well, what? If you want to learn how to do that as well and live a life of purpose,
yes,
hop on that call. moneycoachmike.com/15 will be the best 15 minutes you spend on your finances in a long time. And from there, we're going to get you clarity and moving in a direction.
Love it.
All right. So we love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. And we'll see you next week.